our fans. I'm very thankful that you're giving us this energy so that we can continue with the great work that we're trying to do.
And once again, I'm speaking to Jong Wook Shin of iiRcade. He is the man behind iiRcade, and you got to go ahead and check out everything that he's doing today at iiRcade.com. You can go ahead and check out all the great things that are there, including if you want to go ahead and pre-order all the great units that are there, starting with the bar tops at $399, going up to the full stands. Now, I wanted to ask you, it looked like they were, at the time I was there with you at CES, they're about, what, 3/4 height as far as that from a standard arcade machine? Is that correct? Or my...
Sure, it's a little bit taller. Right now it's 61 inches.
Okay.
So depending on which arcade you look at, we looked at actually over 150 different units to decide our height.
Okay.
So depending on which unit, right, maybe shorter, maybe equal.
Okay. And I noticed, I remember one of the distinct things that you told me was how sturdy they are, because you said you were knocking it over several times. Are you still knocking over iiRcade units at this point in time?
Not intentionally.
Okay.
But I was carrying my unit around everywhere, right, by myself. And while I'm doing this, I'm bumping into this and that. I drop a couple times and things, and it's still working.
Okay.
So
all right. And I've seen all the celebrities that have had a chance in the months since to try out the unit, and they're glowing heaps and praises on you, especially the outlets as well that are doing the same. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to it, all the advanced orders that you have through Kickstarter. But again, people, if you want to go ahead and are interested in ordering it, it's available. Again, still, you've got all those units that I'm seeing now on the iiRcade page. Those units are still available for pre-order. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Whether it's the blacks, as far as bar tops, the black, the full stand as far as this is concerned, either 64 or 128 gigabytes. You've got the black edition that's modeled after Double Dragon. You've got the Dragon Slayer edition at $599, and you have the stand sold separately at $149. So, I mean, if somebody's going ahead and say, I want to go ahead and get a introduction into the home arcade live, do you think the iiRcade is the best fit for them?
Well, I'm a little biased, but
I knew you were going to say that.
But I actually think so. From a gamer perspective, I think it depends on what your needs are, right? One distinct needs that we're trying to solve, one of them at least anyway, is the fact that if you want new games, you don't have to buy a new cabinet. Simply all you have to do is download a game from our game store for a price of maybe a couple cups of coffees.
Yes.
Right, and then you can get a new game. One of the things that we enable is not only do we enable you to play your favorite games, but there are lots of games out there in the world, and there's so many games that we have not tried. And this is one other opportunity where you can try new games that you never played before because your local arcade didn't have it. But when you try it, right, you fall in love with it and things like that. So we're trying to provide opportunity for you to play. Number one, play your favorite games, and we're going to be continuously getting new games. So the library will expand. And number two, opportunity for you to try new things. And here, not only can you play your retro games that you used to play, but we also bring new experiences with modern games that that is transformed into arcade games. And we're finding that those experiences are truly amazing that you really have to try.
And that's when I wanted to ask you as well, because in each of the cabinets, whether it's the barcade or the tall units themselves, 11 games will be the standard that's put into each and every one of them, which include notable games like Double Dragon and Dragon Slayer, which I know a lot of people have been looking for, have been asking other your competitors about, I want that game. I want Dragon Slayer. I want Dragon Slayer. I've heard that on so many community boards. You're the one that has it. I know that's a great get for you guys. And
Thank
also
you.
as well that, the Double Dragon, as someone who worked on the film long time
Oh,
ago.
you did.
A long time ago. Worked for a special
Nice.
effects company that did it. Although the special effects are absolutely horrible, so I really don't want to say I want to brag about that. But I did play obviously 1, 2, and Double Dragon 1 and 2 were very fun for me at the time when I played them in our arcade. So I do have fond memories of that as well. But those games are available along with several others. And then, like you said, you mentioned that once the customer has the unit in their home, they're able to order from a litany of games that you already have made available, and you'll be adding more all the time. Is that correct?
That's very
I
correct.
think $2.99. You said on average between $2.99 and $14.99. Although that would depend, like you said, if you have a modern game that a publisher comes to you and say, "Hey, Zhang, I want to throw this on your iiRcade." You're going to go ahead and maybe see some types of games that might be a little bit more expensive, but they'll be cutting edge games that will be available for your platform.
Absolutely. So we right now have about we have over 170 games, right? Our target is to have about 200 games licensed by the time we launch. And the pricing decision is made between us and the publisher. And from the list of games that we have right now, it looks like the games are between $2.99 and $14.99. I'm not sure now. Anything can happen in the future, obviously, right? If we bring, I don't know, $60 console title at a cheaper price on our product, I don't know. But for now, at least anyway, it looks right now our games are between $2.99 and $14.99. I think
because your units will have 64 or 128 gigs built into the system, so they'll be able to have, if they want to, the room to pack some of those more modern games.
Absolutely. And if you want, let's say you are playing an RPG. RPG is awesome on an arcade environment, by the way. I played it and it's awesome. And once you finish an RPG, and RPGs are normally the bigger files, typically you don't go back and play again until later on, right? So what you can do is delete it from your system so you free up the memory. And later when you want to play it again, you can re-download for free.
Because it'll be under your account, is that correct?
Absolutely. You bought it, you own it.
No, there you go. That's awesome to hear. Again, and that'll be like I said, like you said, it was already 170 titles already listed out. So many titles that will be available for you to buy. Plus, you're going to be adding some more each and every time out when somebody looks on their app. So expect a lot of more incoming titles after that going forward. But yes, a lot of great titles that are going to be on the iiRcade app when these units become available each and every time. Okay, well, I've said a lot of the questions I have, except for one, availability, and that's the thing. You recently said in a YouTube meeting that you covered a little bit of a snafu, a little bit of a speed bump in the hardware. So you decided to go ahead and make the call to delay it a couple weeks. But it's still, for people that are pre-ordering or people that have ordered already via the Kickstarter, they should be getting it sometime in November. Is that correct?
That is our current plan. So we consider quality as number one priority, right? So in order to meet quality, we'll do anything, right? Because that's what we want to deliver. And one of the things that we found was a white noise that's coming out of speaker sometimes. And that happened to be a hardware issue. If it was a software issue and that's not really experience impacting, then we could fix it and software update later on. But if it's a hardware issue, we want to make sure that you get the best hardware possible. So we made the fix. The fix is available. But in order for us to be able to print the circuit board and things like that takes 2 weeks. So we need to we fixed it. Now we're getting it printed, and then once it's available, we're going to retest it, make sure everything's okay. Then we're going to make it happen with manufacturing things. So that's why there was a 2-week delay.
But it still looks like it's on target for sometime mid-November-ish. I mean, that's to me with the 2 weeks in there.
Yes, that's our current plan. So the devices currently are supposed to arrive at the docks of Southern California. And then when we get them, then we're going to be fulfilling them as soon as we get them into our warehouses.
Which leads me into the second question. So let's say mid-November-ish. I think that should be right there. Mid-November-ish for the this delivery, as far as the process of you guys sending it out
Right.
to people, would be mid-November-ish. You've also mentioned, or at least Scott, your great PR guy, he got in touch with us and said that Amazon Beta and Touch of Modern will be some of your retail outlets that people
Yes.
can go to after the fact, when everybody hears how great iiRcade is. I got to get me one. I got to get me one for the holidays. That's the question I have. Will those retailers have them available for consumers during the holidays, late November-ish, early December-ish? That's so that, almost like you and I, when you and I were kids, we'd unwrap that Nintendo 64, or in my case, the Atari 2600 or Pong, under the Christmas tree. And will somebody be able to go ahead that didn't pre-order it be able to go ahead and open it for Christmas and have that type of time frame to go ahead and give it as Christmas gifts? Basically, what I'm trying to say.
Yes, that is the current plan. And my fingers are crossed, right? Because quality issues just pop up out of nowhere, and right there's some, like the white noise issue, for example, that was completely unexpected that we were able to find in certain scenarios. So. We don't know what's going to happen, but fingers crossed. Right now, we're testing it to death. And so far, we're not seeing anything else. But we'll see. If it's something that, again, it's a quality issue that we can software update later on, it's not going to impact our date. If it's something, for example, it's like hardware issue that we need to fix now that is really impacting, then we'll have to fix it. We want to make sure we deliver the best quality. So it'll be dependent upon that. But for now, assuming everything's on plan, that is exactly what we're looking into. And
but
by the way,
I was just going to say, but you do recommend that people pre-order it first, just to make sure that they're the first ones to get on hand with an iiRcade system.
Absolutely. It'll be cheaper, much cheaper, and it'll be faster. So I would recommend the pre-order, yes. And by the way, I'm also a Atari 2600 guy.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I was Pong. I was on Atari 2600. I did get it, Nintendo 64. I bought consoles throughout the cycle chain, but I remember as a kid when I, way back when, getting the Atari 2600 and Pong and all that, I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So.
I totally agree with you. I used to play their baseball game and Mountain King, and those were awesome.
Absolutely.
Quest.
Well, once again, I'm speaking again to the awesome Jong Wook Shin, who I've spoken before from CES, but he's back again. He is the CEO behind iiRcade.com. If you want to check out everything that he's doing today, it is at iiRcade, iiRcade.com. Got it right here for everybody that's available looking on Facebook Live. It is iiRcade.com. The great units available starting from $399. He said, you heard him, get it the best price right now at iiRcade.com. I want to ask you this from the people that I hit up earlier on your iiRcade Facebook group. I want to go ahead before we head on out and ask some of the questions that they're asking.
Absolutely.
Scott Bamer, I'm probably going to butcher these names, so I apologize for doing that. Scott Bamer, the main question he has is, given the success of the Kickstarters, how many publishers responded? And you and I both have been around the video game industry enough and covered enough that when publishers and just developers of small games and whatnot, they see something, they want to hop on it, whether it's a new console or a new home arcade unit per se coming along the way, i.e. iiRcade. So I want to hear your thoughts on how many publishers that maybe weren't knocking on your door in 2019, let's say summer in 2019 while you were still in the development stage, suddenly are knocking on your door at this point in time.
The situation changed a lot, 180 degrees. So
funny how a successful Kickstarter campaign can do that for you.
Right. I think it was more than that, actually, because during our Kickstarter we also had Sega joining us.
Oh, that's great. Yes, I remember that news.
Right. So when with the name, big great name like Sega, right? People pay attention to you because Sega is one of those partners. They're like king of the world, right? Right next to Nintendo. And if King of the Hill joins you, then people pay attention. So that, along with our Kickstarter success, we are getting a lot of attention. We are also getting a lot of contacts from developers contacting us now, not us contacting the developers. We're getting that kind of trend as well, right? So that's another great one. One of the big things about iiRcade, actually two other big things, is that It gives opportunity for the gamers to play retro arcade games, right? So we are able to talk to the big companies to get their retro arcade games and be able to play our system. One thing that iArcade enables for the developers that I don't think is available anywhere in the world is ability for any developers to develop an arcade game, right? Until now, they had the opportunity to develop a console game or a PC game or even a Steam game. But in order for them to be able to develop an arcade game, it becomes very expensive, because right? Because you have to have your dedicated arcade cabinet and your game goes on that, and everything becomes expensive. Whereas on our system, simply you're developing your game or porting your game over using the language that you're used to, the development language that you're used to, and it just runs on an arcade system. So this is the very first opportunity where developers now can develop an arcade game. And these developers are also gamers like us. They used to play these arcade games. They have huge passion in arcade games. And one of their dream, this is developer telling me, right? One of their dream, as I was told, is that they wanted to be able to develop a game, arcade game, because they have this child dream, but they were not able to until now. And that's why they really like iArcade, because now finally anybody can develop an arcade game.
Well, that's an awesome question that you asked, Scott, out there. Jong was able to go ahead and answer it just really awesomely. And again, as something, when you have, it's like everything in life. It's not just the arcade industry. When you have something successful, everybody wants to jump on that train. And the people, those times when you were asking and begging, or not begging in your case, but asking or really just like, hey, can you come help us? And they'll be like, yeah, I'll get to you later. Then all of a sudden they see your success. Everybody wants to become a part of it. It's just human nature as a whole.
I agree with you. And we're seeing that right now.
Yes, we are. I bet you are. I bet you are. Gabe Gerwin has a great question in regards to the units that you have. As far as, it sounds like he's going to get a black, or if he has ordered one, he's going to be interested in getting the basic black unit that you have, because he wants to know if he should have someone make custom Smash TV stickers. And you're already well aware that the home arcade market has several offshooting third-party retailers. I don't want to say mom and pop, but these are some hardworking people that offer some great things. I actually have been interested in for my home arcade unit. So I want to ask you this. He said Smash TV. So I'm seeing no Smash TV specific cab unit that you will have now. But it obviously sounds like he wants to put, have those Smash TV stickers on the side. What do you say to those people that want to go ahead and customize it even more when they get your unit?
Sure. So a couple of things I need to say before I answer the question. And I sort of have to say, and that's because of licensing, right?
Of course.
So one of the reasons why we're not licensing all these, we don't have all these cabinet with pictures, is due to licensing issues, right? And so when you're creating these stickers, you're free to create whatever you want. But right, one thing that I would just quote unquote ask is the licensing. If we can, what's the best way to put it? Respect the licenses of the original developers, right? So that's one thing that I would like to ask. But otherwise, absolutely, Black Edition was created so that you can make it into your cabinet. One of the things that we really want to support is customization and personalization. We don't support piracy, and that's why we don't support modding. But we support customization and personalization. And this is one of the reasons why we created Black Edition, so that you can customize your unit to your liking. Whatever picture you want to put and things like that, or create your sticker, you can. And we're also talking to some people to see if they want to become, like, what's the best way to put it? Sort of recommended, quote unquote, connection, right? So some people who we know are really good and things like that. And also there are many other people who are providing these customization softwares, many of them whom I deeply respect, right? Somebody, for example, like Joe Zabo. He does a lot of great work, and I respect him really dearly. So if these third-party companies are able to provide these solutions so that our Black Edition backers will be able to customize. Then I think this we'll be able to create a great ecosystem to make this happen.
Okay, absolutely. So if somebody wants to go ahead, as we were spoke on before we went on the air about that Xevious stickers, they want to go ahead and put on, or the Iron Man Ivan Stewart's game off-road game, they want to go ahead and slap Ivan Stewart right there on the side if they want to go ahead on their unit, because I'm not sure that those units would be actual come directly from you. Then of course on the outside, go for it. But yes, I can understand your concerns about what the extent of the modding part of it is, because there is quite an extensive modding community within the home arcade community, as you are well up already. So
Yep.
Jim Heller asked a question too. He wants to know more about the rail shooters, House of the Dead and Terminator. Is this something that could be happening? And if so, at some point in time, could a rail gun, as far as the guns, light guns that are right there, or some type of rail gun, be converted or be presented as an option for iArcade owners?
That's a fantastic question. For now, I'll just say anything's possible in the future. So there are so many things that we want to do with iArcade. iArcade is a very flexible system, and there are so many things that we can do with it. And there are so many things that we have already sort of laid out from a roadmap perspective that we want to do. So you'll see a lot of exciting things coming. So I'll just say stay tuned for now. But anything is possible.
Okay, and then the same would go for Dungeons and Dragons, which again comes down to a licensing issue as far as that's concerned, I would assume.
Yes. I say Dungeons and Dragons and anything else. One thing that we're doing right now is we're listening to you. So we're taking every single request that you have that we see, and we're writing them down. And then based on the number of asks and priorities and things like that, we're gonna make them happen for you. So we're definitely listening to you. So if you want them, please do let us know. We are again listening to you.
Have you heard quite a bit from the wrestling community? Because I know wrestling games are obviously by your reaction, it sounds like that you have.
Oh, I think wrestling is like number one requested right now.
Well, I've asked this question before, to be honest with you.
Of course.
Actually, it was around CES. I asked this question to home arcade enthusiasts and some of your competitors about the possibility of adding certain WWE games to the marketplace. And I know from memory, because WWE Superstars is my all-time favorite arcade game, that there is a definite licensing issue. And it's not, I know there's not just, oh, hey, can you go ask the WWE? With that, possibly WrestleFest and even more of those games that came out in those late 80s, early 90s, especially wrestling games, there could be a big issue on licensing from not only, who has the rights, it's finding out who you can deal with, because when you're dealing with some of those older games, whether it's wrestling or not, it's just tracking down exactly who still owns the rights, because some of these companies are no longer in existence.
Absolutely. And I think especially for these games, the issue becomes bigger because there's many more players than typical game. Like, for example, like you said, WWE. And if you remember, there was a lawsuit back about 10 years ago where World Wildlife Federation or Foundation.
The World Wildlife Fund, yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
Even though nobody calls it the WWF,
right.
But they were the first to refer themselves as the WWF. Although you and I and anybody else in pop culture, when we were kids, we've been calling it the World Wrestling Federation, the World WWF. But now that's why the WWE came into being, because of that lawsuit. Which still to this day just. There's certain parameters of how it's done, because now you can see in WWE programming stuff from the past that they blurred out when it comes to WWF. Now it's not blurred out. So where's the drawback? Where's the line? I don't know. That's something that the lawyers figured out. But if for you as a someone who wants to provide that home arcade alternative, when you're searching through some of these, whether it's WCW, WWE, WWF from that period of time, you have to look back at all those games, and it's not just a direct point to point. I know for a fact, like with some of the older games, there's a point, well, okay, I have to look here for this part of the game, but I also have to look at this developer, and this developer closed down. The rights were bought out. So I know it's almost like you feel like you have to be an investigator, so to speak, like a PI. You might need a PI.
It actually, for a lot of games that are out there, because over the years so many things have changed.
Yeah.
I do feel like a PI for any kind of game that we're going after. So,
Absolutely.
It's like
it's anything before 2000. You seemingly have to go ahead and what is the actual history of where can I find the rights for these games? So I can imagine it's really tough.
Absolutely.
2 more questions for you, and then we'll head on out. First is by Mark Twig Jones. He wanted to know the weight of the package for shipment, since he's going to believe it's flat packed. If that's okay, so he do you know about whereabouts what he would be looking at as far as the weight of the package is concerned?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So the draw line of extremely expensive shipping versus moderately expensive shipping is 50 pounds. So we're trying very, very hard to go under that. I think we're right now at 48.
That's close.
But we're engineering it very carefully to make sure that we stay under. But the package itself is not too heavy, actually. One of the reasons why we made it so that we have a bar top and stand and things like that is so that we can have one person carrying it if you want. I've been carrying this all by myself, all along, and it's not too bad. So,
and then is it going to be coming in one box or multiple boxes?
It'll be bar top 1 box, stand 1 box, depending on what you order.
Okay, so let's say I got the full size. Let's say I got the Dragon's Lair, the full size arcade or almost full size arcade that you're going to be releasing. That will come in 2 boxes. Is that correct?
Yes, it'll be bar top and stand in 2 boxes, and that also goes back to the shipping prices. One of the big reasons, because if we combine to one, you'll go over 50 pounds and you'll be paying like 3 times more.
Okay, fair enough indeed. No, that's a great question that was provided by Mark Jones.
That was a great
thank
question.
Everybody from the iiRcade fan page. If you want to join up, that's a great group to join up with. All they talk is iiRcade, so you want to go ahead and be part of that on Facebook. It's a group there. It's easy to join up if you want to know more about iiRcade, or as well, go to their website, iiRcade.com, and you can go ahead and pre-order one today, starting at $3.99, as people on Facebook Live are seeing right now. Starting at $3.99 for some great iiRcade units. You heard it here first from Jong Wook Shin, the CEO of iiRcade. But before we head on out, I've got one more question, and it leads into what I was talking about earlier with the wrestling games.
Sure.
And you talked about, I think I'm probably get the answer I got from you before on this, but you got great 2-player units. What about a 4?
Great question. I'll just say, hint, hint, wink, wink, anything's possible in the future.
I would imagine that would be the case indeed. Okay.
But it'll be awesome, though, I'll tell you.
I'm just saying, it would be a great, because there are a lot of games now that over the course of the years that, I know that you're looking into as well that are great 4-player games. So I know that a lot of people will be asking about that indeed. So just appreciate your time. Once again,
thanks for having me.
Oh, no worries. Great to have you on the show. Great to have you on the show. Jong Wook Shin, CEO of iiRcade. Again, you can see the entire list of games that they have right now that will be available for purchase, anywhere from $2.99 to $14.99 on average, available on the iiRcade app that you can download onto your phone. Once you get your unit starting at $3.99, going up to $5.99, you can check it out today at iiRcade.com. Yes, it will be available, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the end of the year for retail outlets such as Amazon and others. But if you really want to make sure you can get yours by the end of the year as a great holiday gift, you got to go to iiRcade.com and pre-order one as soon as possible. There you go. Well, Jong, it's been great having you on the show. Any last thoughts to all the fans and listeners out there that are more, just really interested in looking at what you have what you have going for you at iiRcade?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So iiRcade was developed for you. It was really developed by Gamers for Gamers. And that's what II in our iiRcade name stands for. and in order to make that happen, we're listening to everybody, and we're trying to make the device and the entire experience that is sort of customized is customized for you, and we're trying to bring all the games to you that you like and things like that. So and one of the things that iiRcade is that we're a community company, and we really want to be completely formed into a one entity with our community. So we're listening to you. Please do have all your amazing comments and ideas and what you want coming, and we're going to be trying very hard to make that happen. So the iiRcade was born due to a dream that we have, and we want to make this dream together with you. So thank you so much for all your support and everything. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for all the love that you sent out to us. I want to let everybody know again, if you have more questions for Jong at any point in time, iiRcade on YouTube, every Tuesday he's there. He even sings happy birthday. So I want to let you know, he gives people shout outs. He loves his family, as he calls them, of iiRcade fans, plus iiRcade fan page on Facebook. And if you hear any crashing in the background, that's just him testing another unit, as he told me way back when in January.
Of course.
Well, Zhang, it's been great talking to you here on the show. And again,
Thanks
I look forward
me.
to absolutely, anytime. And I look forward to bringing you back on again and hearing more great absolutely love to have you back on and hearing more great updates from you right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Thank you very much.